You have seen them in movies, on postcards, maybe even drifting right past you in Venice. Those sleek, black boats gliding through the canals like something straight out of a dream. But the gondola wasn't always elegant and romantic. In the beginning, it was more like a floating family van. So today, while we are building this Venetian gondola model together, let's also sail through its story, from humble workboat to one of the most iconic symbols in the entire world. This is a 1:22 scale wooden gondola kit from Amati, a perfect project for intermediate builders. If you are curious what's inside the box, I have already done a full unboxing and a review video, so check that out for all the details. Before we start cutting out the laser cut wood parts, you will definitely want a good hobby knife on hand. I have been using this Amati Action Kit, and honestly, it's been super handy. I will drop the link down below in the description if you want to check it out. Alright, let's dive in and start cutting out the wood parts. So, how did the gondola's story begin? Let's rewind way back to the 11th century. Venice was a city built on water, so people need a way to move around. That's where the first gondolas came in. Short, wide, and kind of clunky. Picture something halfway between a pickup truck, a taxi, and a garbage barge. Yeah, not exactly romantic, but totally practical. Alright, fast forward back to the workbench. My fingers are officially covered in sawdust, which means the ribs are ready to go. When gluing the ribs to the bottom, make sure they are perfectly squared. Trust me, a tiny tilt here can turn into a big headache later. Here's a little trick I discovered. A Lego block works perfectly as a mini square. It's sturdy, straight, and makes lining everything up super easy. So take your time on this step. Your future self will thank you. Now, while that glue sets, let's talk about the name, gondola. Where did it even come from? The very first time this word shows up in writing was way back in 1094, in a decree by Doge Vitalis Falier. Some historians believe it comes from the Greek word kondura, meaning small ship or shell. And speaking of shells, kind to shape ours, you will need to curve the two-side shells before gluing them onto the ribs. The instructions say to use a Amati bender, which makes this super easy. But if you don't have one like me, no worries. Just soak the side panels in hot water, wrap them around a rolling pin, and tape them down with some masking tape. Once they dry, the curve stays perfectly in place. Alright, back to the gondola's story. Believe it or not, gondolas weren't always black and mysterious. In old days, they were loud, brightly painted, colorful, and full of personality. Rich families used them to show off, basically the sports cars of Renaissance Venice. By the 1500s, Venice was swimming in wealth. Trade was booming and everyone wanted to flex their fortune. Gondolas became the ultimate status symbol. Painted in wild colors, covered in gold leaf, and draped in silk and velvet. The canals looks like a floating fashion show. But that didn't last long. The government wasn't exactly thrilled with the chaos of all that who is richer than who energy. So in 1562, the Venetian Senate said enough. They passed a sumptuary law, basically a no flexing rule, and declared that all gondolas must be painted black. And that rule is still in place today. What started as a law to keep the peace ended up giving the gondola its timeless, elegant look. The black paint wasn't just stylish, It was practical too. Made from burnt linseed oil and pigment, it protected the wood from the salty lagoon water. Once the colors disappeared, the real competition began. Not about how flashy your gondola looked, but how beautifully it was built. Who could craft the smoothest, fastest, most graceful boat? That's when the gondola stopped being just a ride and it became a true work of art. Over the next few centuries, the design was refined into what we recognize today. The gondola became asymmetrical, one side slightly longer than the other. That's not a mistake. It lets a single gondolier row efficiently on one side while keeping the boat straight. Genius, right? They settled on a size of about 10.85 meters long and 1.4 meters wide, flat-bottomed to glide easily through shallow canals. Then came the signature details. The ferro di pura, that fancy metal prow at the front, is not just for show. Each of its 6 teeth represents one of Venice's districts. The focola, the curved wooden oarlock, a sculpted piece that the gondolier steer with incredible control. And the felds, a small cabin once used to protect passengers' privacy, is gone now, but it added mystery and class in the old days. Alright, back to the build for a bit. If you want that perfect glass smooth paint finish, an airbrush is definitely the way to go. But if you're like me and prefer brush painting, no problem at all. You can still get an amazing result. The secret? Dilute your paint really well. Apply thin, even coats. And once it's dry, give it a gentle fine sand before the next layer. Repeat that process about 8 or 9 coats, and your surface will look silky smooth and super professional. Totally worth the patience. Now, while that last coat dries, let's talk about the real powerhouse of Venice, the gondolier. Being a gondolier isn't just about rolling, it's an art form, passed down from generation to generation. Each gondolier is basically a human engine, transmission, and a steering system all rolled into one. Here is how it works. The forecola acts as the fulcrum, and the remo is the lever. With just one smooth, sweeping motion, a skilled gondolier can both propel and steer a 350 kilogram boat. It's all about leverage, balance, and rhythm, almost like dancing with the water. And their tools, pure craftsmanship. Each oar and forecola is handmade by master woodworkers called remery. No blueprints, no machines, just tradition, precision, and a deep understanding of how wood and water move together. Even more impressive, every set is custom fitted to its gondolier, tailored like a fine Italian suit. The angle, the curve, the feel, all designed for that one person. When motorboats arrived in the 1900s, gondolas started to disappear from everyday life. But instead of fading away, they transformed from tools of transport to symbols of Venice itself. Today, fewer than 400 licensed gondoliers still operate in Venice. Each gondola is built by hand using 8 different kinds of wood, taking over 400 hours to complete. Most are made at the historic Square di San Travaso, one of the last traditional boatyards still in operation. Even after 1,000 years, the gondola remains a perfect blend of engineering, art, and tradition. It's more than a boat, it's Venice's heartbeat. For me, building this Amati Gondola has been such a joy. At first, I thought it would be a quick little weekend project, something simple, but it turned into over 100 hours of pure, hands-on enjoyment. Every curve, every brushstroke pulled me deeper into Venice's story. I haven't yet had the chance to see a real gondola gliding silently through the canals of Venice. Not yet. But after building this model, I feel like I have touched a piece of that magic. Because a gondola isn't just a boat, it's a 1,000 years old story, carved from wood, shaped by generations of pride, and painted in the same deep black that has bound the city of Venice together for centuries. A story that still floats even today. Well, that wraps up today's build. If you love wooden ship models and the details they carry, don't forget to explore my other builds or share your own model story in the comments below. Until next time, keep building, keep creating, and keep the stories sailing.